I'm Shashank Awasthi, the advisor, Race Coast Lectures, and Shruti Kannan, head, Cisco Launchpad. Welcome, Geeta and team. Over to you.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to TiEcon. And this is our second edition of Assistive Pitches, which we are bringing. I'd like to welcome Shashank Avasthi and Shruti Kannan, both partners in crime on this journey that we're embarking on. I will just take 1 minute and tell you what we're trying to do here. TiE has been working for more than 30 years across the world on supporting the entrepreneurial ecosystem. And all of us are individually, personally, and professionally working on mainstreaming special needs and disability in some form or the other. And so, about 3 years ago, we began by making our conferences fully accessible, as you will see. And then we said we have to start recognizing the consumers with special needs. And so the best that we could bring together was the entrepreneurial support of mentoring, education, and networking that TiE does, bringing in industry experts like Shashank and Shruti. And so now it's over to you. Shruti, would you just briefly introduce yourself?
Thank you, Geeta. This is such a pleasure and honor to be at TiEcon Delhi and talking about this very, very important topic on building an inclusive society through assistive solutions. So I always believe that technology acts as the vehicle for inclusion. And, if you are able to touch the lives of people through technology, nothing like that. In fact, coming from Cisco, I'm a very active proponent of technology usage in the mainstream software and hardware and the platforms that we are building, including the features like subtitling, for instance, which we have included on our WebEx software, which I think was at one time built for needs, but then they have come into the mainstream. So I think it's all about this very famous song that comes to my mind at this point. भेद भाव अपने दिल से साफ कर सके. So what can we do to remove all of these भेद and भाव and make a more inclusive society through technologies? So I'm looking forward to hearing all the pitches from the start and sharing my views with you, Geeta. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Shruti. Shashank.
Thanks for having me, Geeta. And this is why, Geeta, I always complain to you to always let me come in before Shruti does, because what does one say that can match up to that? But I just want to say a big thanks to TiE Delhi-NCR, because Shruti and Geeta and I, we have the opportunity to be at various places to talk about disability inclusion, assistive solutions, etc. But this has to be, I think, the largest mainstream platform that has consistently had this on its agenda, right? And I think that's a reflection of the team and the charter members who are putting their shoulder to this very important thing. For anybody who's listening in, and most importantly to the entrepreneurs who are going to pitch today, and those who might be thinking about this space, I just want to say that these solutions that we listen to are not for them. There's no other out there, because it's at 15%. Persons with disabilities are a very substantial part of our community, and lots of these solutions are going to be making our lives better in general. So, what better way than to be at a mainstream event where we're talking about valuations, we're talking about the India opportunity, and this is perfectly in line with that. It's always a pleasure to be here with Shruti and Geeta and with our friends at TiE NCR, and look forward to listening to the entrepreneurs.
Thank you. Thanks, Shashank. Thanks, Shruti. Just very briefly, I will mention that we had a number of entries from which we shortlisted 6 who went through their pitches and worked on them for this particular format. Unfortunately, we were not able to do live sessions with them right now. We will be doing that going forward. What we do is we create a cohort. So we have pitches from disabilities of all kinds. There's no one disability alone. And, whether it's for orthopedic, whether it's for visual, whether it's for speech and hearing, sports? How do you make a better and a more enriching life? That's what we're working towards. And what we will do is we will screen 3 pitches now. And after that, Shruti and Shashank and I will give feedback to those entrepreneurs. After that, there will be 3 more pitches, and then we will wrap it up after that. Thank you. We'll be sharing the pitches now.
Hello everyone, my name is Manan. I'm the CEO and founder of Pilto Technologies. At Pilto Technologies, we envision a world where people enjoy equal opportunity technology. We are currently raising a round of 1 crores for 10% equity of our company. We have an acceptance of approximately 57 lakhs that we've raised for this current raise round. The problem that we're trying to solve is in the assistive tech space, specifically in the prosthetic domain, whereas the problem exists where the prosthetic hands that are available in the market are either really expensive or have very limited utility. To solve this problem, we have developed a product we call IDIM Series 1. IDIM Series 1 is a totally mechanical prosthetic hand, which entails features such as a self-locking knob mechanism, which ensures there's no bodily pressure that the patient needs to apply while they're trying to grasp objects. It has a 180-degree wrist rotation, which allows the person to pick up objects with different orientation, a 90-degree thumb rotation, and has an adaptive grip, which ensures that you can pick up objects of different shapes and sizes with more comfort. Along with the prosthetic hand, we have the set of add-ons that we give to the patients, which allow them to perform task-specific jobs with more precision. We also have a box theory, which ensures that there is no psychological barrier when it comes to the adaptation of prosthesis. So it is designed in a way where it can be opened with one hand, has an information and an instruction manual inside the box itself, so that the patient is more excited to understand what are the tasks that they can perform with the complete set than have the psychological barrier to compare it with the natural hand that they used to have pre-amputation. The sector that we are working for is the low cost, high utility, because a lot of startups which are trying to develop high cost, high utility procedures. So we want to ensure that the hand that we create is developed in an inclusive fashion where people from even the lower economic strata would be able to benefit from it. When we talk about the numbers in India alone, in the rural sector, 110,000 people would be able to benefit from IDIM Series 1. The way that we function is we work with large nonprofit organizations and governments and partially or fully fund these initiatives with the CSR initiatives and ensure that the end users are getting the prosthetic hand at a subsidized or a cost or for free. With each and every unit that we give out, IDIM Series 1, we are able to drive an social impact of approximately $1,000. That's like around 75,000 rupees. The way that we've come to this derivation is by creating a list of daily activities, which includes different tasks such as waking up in the morning, brushing your teeth, combing your hair, tying the button of your shirt, which all have different complexity. So we have categorized these tasks, and for any feature that we add onto the prosthetic hand, we can circle back to understanding what are the tasks that it allows the user to perform. So we have taken things from a very utility perspective. We have spent around 3 years, have done over 150 iterations, have tested out around 64 different mechanisms, have approximately 200 names from the Karnataka government to actually put the hands onto the people, like starting now when the pandemic gets over, the lockdown period. We raised a pre-seed round of 40 lakhs with Thinkubate from Mumbai and Hatcher Plus from Singapore at 8 crore valuation. What we wish to do with the funds that we are looking to raise is drive the sales for 1,000 units for IDA M Series 1 and also ensure that like our electronic hand, which is the IDA E Series 1, is at a pilot ready stage. We have performed a lot of these milestones like while when we talk about like the things progress as of today and are looking to ensure and accelerate the whole process like moving forward. When we talk about the team, it's led by me. Like I'm like the ex-founder of a successful 3D printer manufacturing startup. We have Professor N.N. Sharma sir in our advisory board, who's the pro-president of Manipal Jaipur. He has been helping us get different kinds of connects in the industry. Mr. Mohan Sundram, who's the founder of Artila Foundation, which is one of the biggest disability accelerators in the country. Mr. Pranav Marba, who's the founder of Thinkubate, one of the organizations that has like invested in our organization, and Mr. Anurad Kishan, who runs a family business in Kerala. We're backed by Thinkubate, Hatcher Plus, AIC Manipal University Jaipur, and RT Foundation. We've taken part in several events over the years, and the most prominent ones being Thai Jerusalem 2018. We were also among the top 50 startups in Smart 50, organized by IIM Calcutta and NDTV. We are also associated with Kerala Startup Mission, which is the government initiative for startups in Kerala. Uh, that's it from my side. I just want to showcase like a sneak peek of the electronic and the My Electric Hand, the E series and the Series X products that we are developing currently. Thank you.
Hello everyone, this is Santya from Paraclet Labs. At Paraclet, we work on assistive solutions for visually impaired people. We're looking forward to raise a fund of 30 lakhs, offering 5% of equity. And currently, we haven't raised any funds against equity. We was initially seed funded from DST. So, with regard to employability segment, there's a lot of challenges that a blind person faces when he has to be employed. The major reason is that most of the content in and around us is of visual form that can be accessed by sighted people. Now, looking at what a blind person can read, it is mostly braille book, volunteer reader, or it is a recorded audio file. But any content that is found in real time cannot be instantly converted to a braille book or a recorded audio file. So that is where Prakash comes into picture. So Prakash are a range of software solution that can convert any printed and e-material to a blind accessible form. So when you have a PDF, you can instantly upload it into the software and you'll get a audio or a editable text file. Or if you have a printed page, you can keep it on top of the scanner and the software recognizes the text and instantly starts speaking out. We initially started the product as a smart cane, then switched over to a wearable. In the wearable, we had numerous features like object detection, reading text found in the day-to-day environment. All our solutions work on in-house developed deep learning algorithms. Prakash is the first product in the country that can read 13 different regional languages in a completely offline mode. So why offline? Because 100% of government organization, PCU or banks do not permit an online-based tool in view of data security, and majority of the blind people are in rural areas where the internet cannot we cannot assure that it's completely strong, and most of them are from low economic background, thereby it's not affordable to pay on a recurring basis. Also, Prakash is the first product in the country that's completely customizable for blind, working in different workplaces because uh, the demand of an individual in one place from the other would be different. And with Prakash, a person working in a government office will be able to access the government tenders or any government orders in their vernacular language. Someone working in private sector can read the materials, electronic documents transferred from their organization. Someone working in bank can read a large tabular column of data in an accessible form, cell by cell. And a person running his own business will be able to access documents found in his day-to-day life. With regard to the academia sector, with Prakash, a student will be able to read books from 0 to 6 standard. From 7th to +1, he'll be able to read pictures, understand equations and tables, and also translate using Prakash. When they're coming into their college, preparing themselves for a placement, they'll be able to access all type of e-material, MCQ and magazines using our solution. Currently, a product ranges from 25,000 to 80,000 depending upon the customer profile, whether they are totally blind or partially blind, whether they are working, whether they are employed. So, depending on this, we have different features to suit according to individual needs. We are working on a B2B and B2C model on a licensing per product basis. So, currently, we are targeting. We are running at a unit economics of zero point 0.9, and we intend to have a exponential growth with the alternate revenue sources, mainly using the OCR technology that we have developed. So far, we have raised 10 lakhs as seed from DST, 5 lakhs from EDA government of Tamil Nadu, and we've been runner-up at Data Innovation Bazaar and EOGACA. So these funds have helped us in building the basic prototype and in strengthening our OCR technology. With the upcoming fund, we ensure that the all our solutions are onboarded on cloud, and so that the onboarding a customer becomes easy. With regard to market segment, vision impairment is the second largest disability in India, and among the blind people, majority of them belong to a education or a working age group. But because of the lack of proper technological resources, most of them become school dropouts, or they do menial jobs like selling goods in train. So, in the quarter of 2020 to 2023, we target to reach 5 million visually impaired students in our country. Our primary competitors competitors are Sara, EDC, and Kibo. Sara, EDC are offline based solutions priced at 1,15,000 up to 1,75,000. But even with such high costs, they are not able to read vernacular languages. Though Kibo reads vernacular content, but still, since it's an online based model, it cannot be used in workplaces, and that's where Prakash comes into picture. With Prakash, a person working in any environment will be able to access the real time environment. Also, Prakash supports 13 different formats, whereas all the other solutions support only one format. With the increased number of formats, students who are studying in schools and colleges will be able to access numerous different formats. Also, since Kibo is an online based one, we have an approximate recurring cost of 13,000 every year, but with Prakash, we don't have any recurring cost. Our crew, so myself and my co-founder, we are basically from a tech background, and my co-founder holds a PhD in image processing. We have blind people itself on board who help us in marketing and make sure that the product is as user friendly as possible. And our mentors are from the academia background, who make sure that the product has the and the algorithms in it have highest accuracy. We are looking forward to raise a fund of 30 lakhs, and most of it is in building our cloud based solution at the backend so that we are able to automate our installation tasks. Currently, the product is used in 7 plus states by 7,000 plus users. So far, there have been 10,000 plus e-documents read. These are a few milestones across our journey, and therefore, I would like to conclude that there's not enough darkness in all the world to put out the light of even one small candle, and we intend to be that small candle in the lives of visually impaired across our country. Thank you.
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Srinivas, founder of Flexmotor Technologies. Flexmotor Technologies is a design and development company, manufactures mobility aids and elderly care products for fearless independent living of persons with disabilities as well as the elderly population. So we are actually looking for 40 lakhs and with 4% equity in exchange. And currently the commitment is around 1.5 CR from various angel investors. So you might have seen actually these kind of products in the market, right? The crutches, walkers, canes. This has been used for the people having limited mobility like polio, amputee, fractures, meniscal injury, as well as a polytrauma cases, as a spinal cord injuries also. There are a lot many issues with these kind of products. Like the rubber polymer tip underneath it actually wears off in very less time, and it's really tiring and painful to walk with it. And there's a need of high degree of supervision by a doctor in order to make the patients walk with it. Single fall can actually lead to fracture of bones. So what we did is we took an inspiration from human food and designed products. The first product what we made is an underarm crutch. You can see in the here, and then we made forearm crutches. What actually we offer is our product does not slip on any kind of terrain. You can walk on different kind of terrains actually, and at the same time it's stylish and is much more comfortable than any other product globally. And we filed a patent in India. It's granted, and US and Canada we already filed the patent, and we got into essentials of orthopedics and applied physiotherapy. And what you actually provide with the product is it increases your confidence while you're walking and a better health. So we almost all finished our portfolio in mobility aids. Now we are going towards elderly market, in which we already made patient handling devices which actually make the patient stand. This has been right now sold in neuro rehabilitation standalone centers in Hyderabad and Delhi. And apart from that, we are actually making a tracker for elderly. So you know this dementia is one of the like symptom of Alzheimer disease, which actually make the patient wanders off once they have this dementia. So if you look at the population, a city like Hyderabad, it has 60,000 dementia patients, and people actually once they wander off life, they cannot actually come back to home. So we are making a tracker for them with a novel technology. We are using some Bluetooth as well as a GPS, where the battery can extend till 8 days. So which has actually we can actually export these products to abroad as well. And how we actually trying to sell? If you look at our crutches product, right, crutches, walkers, and canes, we are trying to sell it through the hospitals. One model, another one is through the distributors to the directly end user. And this particular product range, what we're trying to sell, so we are trying to offer the premiumness at an what do you say, the affordable cost. And the whatever the revenue that we achieved this year is close to 30 lakhs, and we are trying to achieve the break-even point at 2024 August. And next year our revenue projections are close to 1.2 CR, and next year in 2023 24 our revenue projections are close to 2.5 CL. And since the geriatric population is increasing in India, so we are trying to make the products for elderly population. So if you look at elderly market, right, that's a 13.1 billion USD dollar market globally. And if you look at the what are the tracker that we are making right now, so it has a total market size of 6.1 billion USD, and mobility aid market is 2 billion USD. Apart from that, if you look at the patient handling device, that is close to half a billion USD. If you look at the Asia Pacific market, because we can't enter the other market with this product because of the quality as well as the what is the pricing. So here in this market, actually the competition for innovative products is extremely low, and the market size is set to explode due to aging, as I mentioned, due to aging population as well as increased lifestyle diseases. So whatever the data that we're providing is from the Lilian market research reports. And if you look at the competition, right, in India, the companies like Visco, Tyna, which has been established from past 20 years, and Karma Tyna has established from past 10 years. So though these companies actually provide low utility and low cost products. And if you look at global companies like Ergobomb and Millennium Medical, so there's a high, the utility is high, at the same time the pricing is also high. But those products are not suitable for India, a country like India. So where we actually come is we provide higher utility at the same time affordable cost. That's where actually the competition lies in. And we are already, as I mentioned, we did 30 lakh sales this year, and we already almost sold 2,000 products in the market. So coming to the team, myself, Srinivas, as I mentioned, I had 3 years of experience in biomedical design, product design, and I finished my master's from IIT Delhi Mechanical Design, and I was working on knee joint project in IIT Delhi for past 2 years. And my co-founder Arvind Desai, he has 6 years of experience in strategy and biomechanical product design. And Girish Yadav is a manufacturing and design. He is also graduate from IIT Delhi. And we have actually employees Abhijit, Chetan, and Bhaskar, who take us all the sales in Delhi and Hyderabad. So what we actually want is we want funding to increase our sales team. Right now, we finished our piloting of sales and the product is ready. We got the patent, the paper is published, and at the same time we did some pilot sales, as I mentioned, and we sold the product to government also. We want to expand this into various states across like India, as well as we want to go global. So right now, ISO 13485 certification is going on. So we need money for that, and so mainly we need money for expanding our sales, doing R&D for the future products, as well as establishing the mass manufacturing for the existing products. So we are trying to raise around 2.15 CR against CCPS, which base valuation of 6 CR, as well as the post investment valuation of 10 CR. And last investment was 25 lakhs to convertible loan from CIE, and we already have a soft commitment from various angel investors of until 1.75. And whatever the money that we get, we are going to use in terms of sales. That's where the manpower is, and R&D is very less, 7%, since we already finished R&D on most of the products. And equipment is needed for manufacturing, as well as there are a few amount of admin costs, because we sell it through various channels like Amazon, Flipkart, e-commerce, as well as our normal distribution channels. And we are supported by Byrack, we are supported by Willgrow, and Social Alpha Quest, and Startup Oasis, and various the incubators. So we have a very good media presence as well. And recently, one of our user actually he trekked to the Himalayas as well, and Ladakh, and at the same time, one of our user actually been to UK as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Look, I've heard these pitches before, right? But, Shashank, Shruti, classical issues for all entrepreneurs. We want to scale. We know we need to have a large number. We want to go to global markets, right? What are some of the mantras, Shashank, that you would think of that you would tell, they're doing interesting work using tech, and doing areas which have actually not been looked at before. What kind of advice would you give them as they're looking to scale up their business, Shashank?
So I think these are pretty well formed. I won't say well formed businesses, but I think the well formed products. I think each of them has gone way beyond idea stage. You can see the effort that's gone in. I think the elements of design and the consideration each of the entrepreneurs talked about they really stand out for me. So, for example, when Manan spoke of each of the actions, the fact that they're making it sound like DIY, and then Sankhya talking about 13 languages offline, because this is something that we've seen, particularly in interaction with rural communities or government entities, right? An online tool is not going to work. In fact, even with very, very large international enterprises, one of the biggest challenges in visual accessibility is the resistance to a tool that will sit in some form within the tech ecosystem, right? So I think they're going after some very serious problems that are well considered. I like the fact that some of these are not just applications as we see, and that's why they're very exciting for me in particular. It's not just that there are going to be people who are visually impaired that might want to use the solution that Satya worked on. I mean, I remember we were invested in a business that did something around agri supply chain, and one of the big hits, Geeta, was about being able to hear a transaction being conducted, right? And these are people who I tell you are not fully illiterate, right? So, like a lot of us who use subtitling, Shruti mentioned about that. So I can see other uses for that very clearly. I think some of the suggestion that I would have is there was this discussion around how CSR is supporting to go to the market, right? So while the differentiation between the buyer and the consumer is not a big problem, I think it can lead to not enough energy going out and talking to more and more customers. So I would say you should take every penny, every dollar, every rupee that's coming your way in whichever form, but do make sure that you are in front of those people who are buying for themselves as well. I like what FlexMotive is doing because I think they're looking at a big market. One of the challenges will be how do you make sure that you don't have too many SKUs as you start looking at the different elements of the market. I think Santhya's got something really interesting that's going out there. I would say that they probably are underestimating cost to market, right? So when they raise money, I think they should build that in adequately, right? Sometimes, we recognize that it on a presentation it looks like, oh, can I spend that much? But I think it's a very, very important element. But to quickly summarize, I like the design element. I like the fact that they've all got consumers and customers, and they are in various places. So I really like at the stage at which they are, and it's very, very heartening to see that all of them have already got some form of money. Right? I like Santhya's having built this business this far, just winning prizes. I mean, I think it reflects a very different level of grit and ambition. That's my quick summary for this.
Thanks, Shashank. Shruti?
So I will just share a few observations on each of the startups too. Starting with Piltover, which was the first one. I really admire the way that they're using tech to incorporate and monitor the activities that the prosthetics are able to accomplish and adapt to newer mechanisms, because I think that learning, that artificial intelligence kind of and ML element, the machine learning elements, which are normal instances used in so-called mainstream tech, it is very interesting to see that have used this in this bio aspect of assistive tech. So I think that is going to be one of the biggest USPs, because they are growing from, I think he mentioned about 64 mechanisms have been tested and growing. So that I think even in the global market, that will be the differentiator as they scale up. With respect to Sandhya, I think that was mind blowing. 13 languages. Uh, if we just think beyond just blind people accessing it, even I would love to use this if I had access to 13 languages. That could be, when I was looking at some uh, my son's question papers which were of different languages, I didn't know what the questions were. I would have loved to use this and ask him the right kind of questions and answers and help him even with his studies. So similarly, we are all working in a multi um, lingual structure today, and with access to such kind of different sets of documents, to ensure that we have such quality software that provide us access to inclusiveness. So my biggest takeaway or a recommendation for Santhya is to really look at building some prototypes with some mainstream solutions which can really bring out the power of her solution at Paraclete Image Labs. But not the least, I think Flex motive was again the design element that they had brought in. I personally thought that we're all temporarily able. So we are definitely going to require all of these solutions at some point of time, and we are only helping ourselves by supporting such solutions. So kudos to Flexmotive for coming up with some very full design oriented elements, and I think they are on the right track, getting in the right kind of patents, not only in India but in US and Canada as well. And all of them, as Shashank was saying, there are a lot of governmental grants also available apart from the VC and the PE routes. So definitely go for governmental grants through the schemes like Nidhi, which some of them opted for already. Then we have the Startup India Seed Fund scheme. So many different schemes that I think Bairak has come up with their Jan Care Challenge. So these are all very close to what the governments are looking for in terms of expansion of the market.
Thanks very much. I would only add one point. I was looking at in India, just as when phones started, right? And one phone would be used by six people. Walking sticks are used by the same walking stick as home is used by four people, right? So I would only tell Flex Motive that, just be a little careful, give the opportunity for adjustments because you don't know who it's meant for and who's actually going to use it. How many times has somebody said, oh, give me your reading glasses, right? There is, just like it's available in a bookshop, right? So think about making it scalable from a commonality as well. That is the only other piece of advice that I would give. I continue to be amazed by what they're doing. Thank you. I think we have to go back to now hearing the other pitches. There are three more pitches coming up.
Hi, I'm Aditya, founder and CEO at Umoya Sports. We work towards enabling all children to grow and prosper through play. Play is one of the first form of learning for any child, and Einstein has famously said that. But unfortunately, it is also the first form of exclusion for children with disabilities. Children with disabilities are at great advantage. Amongst more than 80 million people with disabilities, close to 10 million children have no access to play or fitness. According to the recent UNESCO report, it is majorly because of lack of accessibility or inclusive programs. And it results not in play, but also in things like education or healthcare. 39% of children drop out from school, and a major 57% of persons with disabilities are obese, and they also face mental health challenges. Together, this results in a major social stigma and lack of skills, which results in ultimately in reduced livelihood. In resulting, 70% of persons with disabilities are unemployed, resulting in a major GDP loss for the country. At Umoya, we are aiming to break this exact barrier by empowering children with and without disabilities with life skills, physical and mental well being, and building an inclusive culture to read and enriching life through value-based sports and play-based education programs. And we aim to target 1 million children by 2035. Sports is anyways considered as a great holistic tool, and we use this as a tool to build overall life skills in children through our three sports and play-based education programs: Ability Spark, Joy of Play, and Adapted Football, which are catered to different age groups of children. Ability Spark is a tech-powered solution which is using low tech such as WhatsApp and emails to send content to teachers, parents on a daily basis, so that teachers can use play-based education to build early childhood education tools for children staying at home. And then we have sports education programs like Joy of Play and Adapted Football, which are implemented through two operational models such as B2B and B2C. We partner with schools, NGOs, organizations which are working directly with children, and we also reach out to parents, individual parents, caregivers, or friends to implement the program. We have been running the programs for the past 3 years, and we have reached out to more than 1,200 children through our direct sports-based programs And using our tech-powered programs, especially during COVID, we reached out to more than 10,000 children in farthest of the right from urban to rural parts of the country. And we have been sustainable from day one in trying to establish the organization by creating a subscription-based model for both for schools and for customers, individual customers. So for schools or B2B, like such as other NGOs, we kind of like understanding the needs of the school. We kind of also have other supporters to support the program to reduce the cost for them, and we kind of like charge a nominal fees right from 75,000 to 3 lakh, depending upon the service that they have offered for. And then for a customer, we have a pay and play model, which is because we realize that there's no accessible sports or a play-based program for children. So we kind of create that kind of a recreational or a competitive to create a like a overall physical and mental well-being through sports, wherein anyone can come and subscribe to the program and pay and play. So the average charge is 9,000 per month for any child who subscribes. And we see this as a major opportunity because there is currently in India, there is no accessible sports or a play academy for children, which is age appropriate, which is skill appropriate for children specifically with disabilities. And this results in a major, like a non-healthy lifestyle choices. And the other challenge is that therapy-driven mindset, which takes the children very bored, and it feels like very medical kind of a thing, taking away the fun out of it. And there's a high stigma level in the thing. So we're trying to break all these barriers through our sports program. Our major ask for the next year is 65 lakhs, wherein we want to build a tech product and to expand our value-based sports program overall of 65 lakhs that we are charging. And the program is for they're looking these funds to expand the team, to build a tech product, and to hire for marketing and other costs, but majorly into building the tech product and for the team. We have a beautiful team already set in place, which has right from educators, sports experts, and various other technology people and doctors who are on our board to help us in scaling this program. We already have a few funders, and we are part of various ecosystems such as Acumen, Beyond Sport, International, National to help us scale this program. And we are reaching out to all of you to come join us on board so that we can reach out to more children and we help us to build play and fitness into lives of more children. Thank you.
Hi, we are Raman and Lakshman from Backyard Creators. Our product is Impulse. Welcome to the world of hearing aid implantation. Welcome to the world of hearing aid implantation. Meet Mr. Thiru, who is 21 years old, and meet Mr. Sundar, a 13-year-old. They both are brothers from a same family, affected since birth with conjunctive hearing loss. Not just him. Globally, over half a billion people were affected by the same problem. For them, there existing only one solution is hearing aid implantation. In hearing aid implantation, the surgeon need to drill the skull and they need to place a magnified electrode inside the skull to enable hearing. It has a many disadvantages. Mainly, they require a high risk open skull surgery and not all the surgery is a 100% success rate. And they must done an implant within 8 years and they're not able to take an MRI for a lifetime. At last, the cost of the implantation which exists over 10 lakhs. So with the aim to help these patients, we have invented a world first adhesive non-surgical hearing device which totally avoiding an implantation surgery for hearing loss. No more parents need to drill their children's skull for hearing. We are totally avoiding an implantation surgery for hearing loss and it suits for all ages. There is no restrictions on using our product. The patient can still take a life-saving diagnostic services such as MRI. At last, our device is extremely cost-effective. Our early prototype has shown that it is cost little under 50,000, which is just a 6% cost of a traditional hearing aid implantation. So I know that we have a very big question, how we are reduce the cost from over 10 lakhs to a non-surgical solution for a 50,000 because we are using our patented technology. Our patented technology uses a magnetic stimulation, where we are giving a magnetic stimulation directly to the cochlea through auditory nerve. On doing that, the birth and conjunctive hearing loss patient can able to hear without doing an implantation surgery. Here is the aesthetic of our product. We need to stick our product behind the ear using a non-allergic adhesive material, and we have a two patent for our hearing technology, which is India origin with PCT. So here is our technology has been validated by a various stakeholders. We have been piloted with over 50 plus patients and our major stakeholders like audiologists and ENTs. And here is our regulatory certification pathways towards a certification. So our innovation is certified and awarded by the Japanese government from the Ministry of Internal Affairs and Communication. Here is our competitive landscape. Our main competitive advantage is providing a non-surgical solution which suit for all ages at zero restriction at a very affordable cost. Here is our market size. Our total market value is $8 billion. Over 466 million people were affected by this problem all over the world. In our country, over 63 million people were affected by this problem. But only a 10% of patients get treated so far because of high risk and cost associated with an existing solutions. So here is our target audience. Our champion customers are doctor, hospital, and clinics, and our customer segments are birth and conjunctive hearing loss patients. Here is our go-to-market strategy. We are going to follow B2, B2C, and B2G. The actual cost of the implantation is around some 15 lakhs. Under the government scheme called ADIP, it's cost around up to 7 lakhs. Even though our government has struggled in this scheme, because only a 300 people get benefited to this scheme. If our solution comes, up to 30,000 people get benefited to this scheme. So here is our product timeline based on the milestones towards a product production. Here is our leadership team. We are Raman and Lakshman, and 19-year-old twin co-founder of the startup, and Mr. Sriraman sir, who is biomedical scientist, and Mr. Prashant Goyal sir, who is business and strategic advisor, and Dr. Stuart Grisian. Here is our excellent advisor panel, Mr. Abin Abraham Elavadigal, and Dr. Saravanan, a director of Sarna Multi-Speciality Hospital, and Mr. Vishnu PJ sir, Dr. Vivek Manoharan, a scientific advisor, and Mr. Vishnu Nagaraj sir. Here is our accomplishment. We have two patents for our hearing technology, which is India origin with PCT. We are supported by the various government like TIDE and DST. We have successfully piloted with over 50 plus patients, and our innovation is certified by the Japanese government. And we are also awarded as a DAD Entrepreneurship Award by a German government in a Fallingwalla Foundation, Berlin. And our research and development is supported by the Technical University of Munich, Germany. So what impact we are going to create in people life? We are making here everyone without doing an implantation surgery. In a history, for a first time, we are going to create a employment for hearing loss people, and we are proud to say that world first non-surgical hearing device was built by a 19-year-old twin co-founder from a tier 2 cities, and we are improving the quality of disabled people life by achieving a good health and well-being. So we are successfully piloted with over 50 plus patients. They can able to hear through our device for a first time from their birth without doing an implantation surgery. And also on doing a piloting, we came to know that on providing a continuous speech therapy to them along with our solution, we are also enable them to speak while using our solution. So this is how we are directly impacting the people life. Thank you.
A very warm greetings to one of our present here. This Fititoy Solution is an assistive tech startup based in Chennai. So this is Ramalingam here, and we are into development of user-centric innovations for differently abled, elderly, and special children. So when I was doing a bachelor's in mechanical engineering at Anna University, Chennai, we were asked to make up a project as part of our coursework. I didn't want to just make a project just for sake of marks. So we made a project which could have a social change in it. So we made a first prototype, which was a multi-purpose wheelchair, which was funded by Tamil Nadu state government. So just imagine wearing a shoe that doesn't fit us. Like if it is an L size shoe instead of an M size shoe, it doesn't look good. In case of wheelchair user, only standard size wheelchairs are used in India. So this caused a bigger issue in terms of usage and also in terms of health issues in the user. And also there is lack of standing therapy in the user once they come back to the home. And also due to the improper wheelchair that is available in the market, there is an inefficient outdoor and indoor maneuverability. There are Indian manufacturers who do not solve the problem in an effective manner, and there are effective solutions which cannot be like affordable to everybody. In India, there is about 195 million people need some kind of mobility device for an inclusive life. Every year, around 6 lakh normal wheelchairs are being sold in India, and we have segmented our market based on the level of injuries, demographics, psychographics, and geographics. So we have built two wheelchairs. The first one is the active wheelchair. It comes with complete customization as per the individual fit, And most importantly, this would be very easier to maneuver. So that this could be used both indoors and outdoors, and it's also X-foldable. Single, it is very useful to take it from one place to another. And our standing wheelchair is also completely customizable as per the individual fit. And just a small push could transform a sitting position to standing position. It consists of levers, and a gas spring could be changed according to the weight of the users. And this could be taken up to weight of 135 kgs and up to standing angle of 75 degrees. We are right now at an user trial phase where our wheelchairs have been undergoing user trial at various phases at rehabs in Chennai and Coimbatore, and we have planned for a final phase of trials in next 2 weeks. And the wheelchairs have been designed from the input of the users and have been iterated every time depending upon the output of them. And our wheelchairs provide more access both indoors and outdoors. And our wheelchair work in redistributing pressure. This helps prevent skin injuries, pressure injuries, and replace spasticity, and reduce the risk of overuse injuries, and also encourage better blood flow and lung functioning in the users. In India, the wheelchair market is untapped. So we'll be initially focusing on making partner with hospitals and rehabs, and then making user hotspot where they would be acting as community influencers to enter the market. So initially we will be creating the demand by means of user hotspot, and focusing on positive unit economics depending on the cost to acquire and customer, and we will retain the customers by means of the products in the pipeline. So we will initially as a B2C brand, and we will also enter the B2B brand after a year. Is this slide changing? When we went on to speak with users, people tend to get wheelchair at a price of 7,000 to 15,000 rupees, which has a lifetime of 1 to 1.5 years. So we wanted to make a wheelchair that has a good features, which is in cost-effective range of 20 to 30,000 rupees. So when we went to speak to users, they were like okay with getting a wheelchair with this kind of customization at this price range. So we would be focusing on getting people with one-time sales, and also with rental for people who have an temporary disabilities, and also we are also have plans to implement it at railway stations and railway station and airports and so on. So financially, right now we have been funded by Infos Foundation, MeitY, and 3M, and we are looking forward to enter the market in early August or September. We would be starting taking pre-orders on the month of May, and we are projecting a financial of 1.25 crores in the next financial year, which is projected to 50 crores in the next 5 years by product portfolio expansion and geography expansion. We have commode wheelchairs, like spring assisted crutches, and various devices for reproductive disease for disabled people in our pipeline. And our team consists of high performance individuals who have an industry experience over 3.5 years and have graduate degrees from reputed universities like Technical University Berlin, Technical University Freiburg, and Anna University Chennai. And we have been supported by various rehab centers and hospitals, and also by various government institutions, including MeitY and Tamil Nadu state government over the years. And we like to have your support in taking this product further to take for making impact in the society. And I'd like to thank everybody for giving this opportunity. Thank you.
Geeta, you're on mute, since that must always be said in every event we get together these days.
I think this calls for yet another technology Zuddle.
Yeah. Shruti, you want to go ahead just in the interest of time till we can get Geeta back?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'll probably start with the latest one, which is the fitted out solutions, especially the one that really caught my attention was the sit to stand wheelchair, because that, we've always known wheelchair to be sitting medium, but the one that really lets us stand and zip through is going to be a really game changer. Um, Again, an observation that I wanted to point to the founder here is their business model, where they're talking about direct sale as well as service with AMC, annual maintenance model, as well as rental. I think while the rental and the outright purchase makes sense, I would also want to suggest more of wheelchair as a service kind of a model. The government is talking about drone as a service, but I think the country needs wheelchair as a service much more than drone as a service. That's more of a priority at this point of time. And if these people are able to really achieve that, think about it, getting a wheelchair, and when you offer it as a service, you can actually get it back into your warehouse if you're going to give them like refresh model. It also contributes to sustainability in a big way. You don't need to get access to net new raw materials for build up and things like that. So I think they have a huge scope in terms of bringing up wheelchair as a service. Again, in the interest of time, Shashank, you want to comment on the next one, which is backyard creators?
Yeah, so I mean, of course, first of all, I think this is we are seeing history being built as Shruti talks about wheelchair as a service. It's going to happen, no doubt. And let it be put out there that it came up in a TIE event, but yeah, I think it's a very large scale opportunity. There's no doubt in my mind. I'm actually blown by all the three. I also want to talk a little bit about the sports piece because I think it's just absolutely incredible. I have, in my personal capacity, been trying to talk about what I would call as twinning, which is getting children with disabilities and without disabilities to come together. And it's just absolutely remarkable to see that they're able to build something that's viable. And I think it's going to go places, no doubt in my mind. I think we've seen the challenges with cochlear implant, and I know that there's a lot of government support available, and yet there are challenges because of the invasive nature of that procedure. So, and I think anything which is non-invasive is generally preferred by every consumer, right? Whether consumer, patient, or in any form. And I think I'm really impressed that they've been able to come up with the solutions that are non-invasive as well as price it the way that they've been able to do. Of course, it seems that they've got just 50 people looking at it, so we need to get a little more validation, etc. But I think if it got plugged into the government system and became available as an option, so you could do cochlear or you could get this, I think they're going to see a lot of support coming their way, and then they could ride out on that channel. And they seem to be very young to me, so that's sort of very heartening to see. And yeah, about sport. Yeah, Geeta, good that we have you
I
back.
think it's interesting to see how, yesterday at our Tie the Knot, we've seen the over 6 years, we found a completely different range of new products, new offerings, game apps for checking your mental health, right? There was visual for assessments. And I'm looking at this, right? So today's entrepreneurs are coming with none of yesterday's baggage, none of saying this is what my grandfather did or this is what my auntie did, but just looking at the environment around them. If you ask each one of them, why did you do it, they all have fascinating stories behind why they saw somebody not able to do something, and it sparked that sense in them. And those are the pieces that I actually find so heartening and so exciting about what they're all trying to do. And really, one shout out to all of them. There were many who couldn't make it to this. We did try and identify those that had gone beyond proof of concept. So there will be some that by next year at TiEcon we should see them should have gone to a different stage. We were not able to get actual sessions done right with Feedback Live, but we are going to come back to them and will block your time to say, look, we will come back, we will be mentoring them, we will be asking them and do much more detailed. I think with all their business models also, it's interesting to see how TAM, GTM, go to market, B2G, it's all become part of everybody's vocabulary today, right? But I think drilling down and saying, with your experience, both Shashank and Shruti, and other mentors we can get to say, look, try this channel, let's go deep in this, let's build it out here. And to your earlier point, customer validation, customer acquisition, they've all tended to go the CSR route and the grants. And Shruti, to your point about those competitions are available, is there any one quick last comment both of you would like to make about how to look for that customer that will help them accelerate? Shruti?
So I think the customer that I, in my point of view, is not just some third person, but to even look at our own self customer. Because today I may be creating this, tomorrow maybe the consumer of this technology. So if I'm going to be comfortable using this technology or using this on my loved ones, I think that's the way to go. So that's the way to put in, as much passion, as much goodness into this technology.
Super. Shashank?
Yeah, so I think there was this whole mention of B2B to C, and then those kind of models, and I think those are very powerful. I'd also say that it's not a bad idea to reach out to disabled persons organizations, right? The large scale ones, because there is a lot of conversation happening there, and any feedback, it may be positive, it may be otherwise. I think it would be very, very useful, because we know that persons with disabilities and their needs are not spoken about adequately, right? So those are perhaps one of the other channels to think about.
Super. Do you think there is an opportunity with corporates? Because you also know my other agenda for mainstreaming and employability. Do you think there is an opportunity for corporates that want to also engage and hire people with special needs who could possibly be open to having conversations?
I think yes, and I can tell you, Geeta, not just corporates, but with the top tier educational institutions, there are some that actually provide, for example, wheelchairs because they have large campuses, right? So I think what might happen is either you can go to a large scale corporate or you can go to large scale parks, right, where there are a range of corporates, and this then becomes, taking on from Sruti's idea, it just becomes a shared service, which becomes then available, and therefore one of the reasons that corporates want to go into a park is that irrespective of the amount of space that they take, they get access to a large number of services. And this should be one of them as well. Accessibility related services, which come in as a part of the campus that you're a part of, I think is a very interesting angle to pursue.
Yes,
Super.
hire
Sorry. Go,
people.
Shruti.
Yes, Cisco actually hires people with disability, and we also have called CDAN, which is the Disability Action Network, which is in place. As an additional point here, when I was listening to the pitch of Umoya Sports, just like they are doing this for schools and colleges, I think this could also be like a corporate offsite event where they could get people to experience that firsthand. They're able to empathize and take that further.
Super. I think it's time to call Aubrey back on stage. And Shruti and Shashank, thank you very much. As usual, very insightful. And we are going to come back and keep you connected through the year with TiE Delhi on this initiative.
Thank you.
Thank
Always
you.
a pleasure to hear. Thank you so
Thanks.
much, Geeta, and thank you so much
Thank
for the
you.
time.
Thank you so
Thank you.